Welcome to Beyond the Box, where we unpack the world of packing, shipping, printing, and more. Whether you're shipping for business or sending a care package, we are here to help you do it with purpose and precision. So let's get right into it, because there's always more beyond the box. Hello, everyone, and welcome back. Today, we're going to unpack UPS versus FedEx versus DHL versus the post office. And I may be missing one or two, but that's what we're here to learn about. So let's get unpacking. What carriers am I missing?
Well, I mean, you go into a whole group of carriers when it's too big for the ones you mentioned. So the freight world, LTL, companies like T-Force or
SDs.
Yep, there's a lot of ones that have gone out like Yellow Freight and things like that. But there's a whole world of freight for stuff that won't ship via traditional carriers such as UPS, FedEx, and DHL. And that would include stuff like big furniture or large artwork, etc.
Excellent. Adam, tell us, how do we know when to use which carrier?
Well, it all depends on the specifics of what you're shipping and where you're shipping it to. Easy one to start with is if you're going international versus domestic. If you're going international, usually the recommendation is going to be DHL. The other carriers are available for international, but DHL is kind of the premier, flashy, best and brightest when you're doing that sort of thing.
Okay.
So we'll usually recommend that one first, unless it doesn't completely make sense. But typically DHL's international.
Well, DHL has been, first off, it's the German post office, and they have been doing international longer than either UPS or Federal Express. And if we send 10 packages internationally via DHL, we probably have one that we've got to really get involved with. If we use the other carriers, it's closer to like 50% of them we have to get heavily involved with. So it's just differences in how they deal with importing and customs and getting it through into the final delivery. It's just where DHL has practiced, preached, and excelled for so many years.
Right. And if you are going domestically, which carrier still depends on your needs as a shipper, where the destination is, when you want it to arrive, what your budget, all of that can determine the carrier. And sometimes, depending on the specific location, sometimes people come in saying, FedEx delivers to this house with no issues, but UPS usually has a problem, so we're going to ship it via FedEx. That happens from time to time as well. So again, it depends on the specifics of your scenario. And that's part of what our job is to ask the questions to find the specifics, and then that way we can make a recommendation based on our knowledge of each one.
Well, some of the questions that we ask are, what's inside?
Right.
And we ask that for, more than just curiosity. We want to know what's inside so we can say, oh, hey, we can't ship that. Or, perfume's a bad idea. Cash is not acceptable. Oh, you have a laptop in there. How's it packed? We just want to really protect you, the customer. I hate to say it, but kind of like from yourself sometimes, because you just don't know what you don't know.
That's true in everything.
Yep.
What would you say are the strengths and the weaknesses of each carrier?
I mean, each of the carriers, all of them are strong carriers, but there's definitely things that they do a little bit better. UPS's tracking seems to be the most robust of all of them. And during December, we had a good sampling of all three carriers, and UPS really just nudged out just a little bit better than the other two in timeliness and claim process and issues, or I should say lack of issues. So that's always a piece of it. Federal Express is very good at what they do, but they're not as timely as UPS. And the post office, well, they're designed for something totally different. Adam, what do you usually push a customer towards the post office if they're sending, what?
Usually if it's a really, really small package under a pound, something like a t-shirt in the bag, a really small box with, something kind of a handmade ornament or something where, it's not so much of, it can get there when it gets there. For small packages, typically post office is going to offer the best rate for it.
Okay.
That's usually when you end up with a post office, or sometimes if it's something where, if it's a it can get there when it gets there, but it's the item itself is really fragile. Because post office is the one that carries everything by hand, whereas UPS and FedEx are using conveyor belts to sort and move packages. So at one point, it's in a robot's hands, and your fragile sticker really doesn't matter because they're not reading it.
That's a
True.
great point. That's a great point.
Mhm.
Can you give an example of when someone might ask for a specific carrier, but you might have to persuade them to go a different direction?
I mean, if someone asks for an overnight via FedEx, I'm immediately going to offer UPS instead. Reason I'm doing that is because UPS's overnight services are guaranteed, whereas FedEx does not guarantee them anymore. They lifted it around, I think it was the beginning of December last year, and they haven't put it back.
Oh,
So if your package is late for something, outside of reasons like weather, or you put the wrong address, or the business is closed, if it misses a trailer, there's a late flight, something like that, UPS is going to refund you 85 to 90% of what you paid to ship it. FedEx is going to say, sorry, it's late.
gotcha.
You also have stuff where, folks might ask for like a 3-day shipment to go to New Hampshire. We might tell them, okay, the 3-day, here's the cost of the 3-day. And if, it's not something that might fit in that customer's budget, we'll let them know, hey, if you're not looking to guarantee it for overnight, you're probably okay just doing a ground shipment. It's going to get there in the same time frame as, a 2-day or a 3-day package. And it's not going to have, the premium cost involved with it. We're not afraid to tell you that stuff. It's our job is to present you with all of your options, explain the benefits of each of them, and then ultimately let you decide at the end of the day, what you want to do. So if you're looking for that package, I can say, I can get it there tomorrow, guaranteed for this time, money back if it's not, there on time. Or you have ground shipping, which is an option. It's, lower budget item, but it's not guaranteed. So if it's late, you have no recourse. We'll present you with those options, and then let you kind of make the decision at the end of the day.
Figure it out.
Yeah, that's why we ask the questions. What's inside? What's it worth? How's it packed? When do you want to get it there? We ask those questions to help guide you to the different options that are going to best suit what you need. If you come in and you go, I don't care what it is, I just want the cheapest price. We're going to give you the cheapest price, and then we're going to explain to you, hey, for $2 more, you get this with UPS that you didn't get with the post office. And usually it's a tracking and coverage, because a lot of the post office shipping comes with 0 coverage, whereas UPS and Federal Express have that $100 built into the pricing.
Right. Yeah, that's really the best part about being able to offer all of them, is because there's no best carrier all in all universally. It all depends on what your experience is and what you want out of your shipment. There's no best carrier, period. There's the best carrier for what you need to do.
And that's why we have Postal Annex now, so that we can offer all of these different carriers.
Yep.
I love that. Well, it's a wrap for today. Join us next week as we unpack all of the costs associated with shipping a package, whether it be large, small, sturdy, fragile, minimal, or high value.
There you go. That's a wrap.